Hey, what's up everyone? So in this video I want to do a quick unboxing of a cooking thermometer, and it's made by a company called Smartro. And so this thermometer actually features two of the probes. So if you're cooking, on your searing pan, you can cook two steaks at the same time, or you can monitor two different temperatures at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just open up the box, and we're gonna take a look at the thermometer itself, and then I'm gonna try to cook this pork butt meat. I'm gonna try to sear it, and then we're gonna test the internal temperature with the thermometer, because for the pork, you want the internal temperature to reach 140 Fahrenheit before it is safe to consume. Okay, so let's unbox first, and then we're gonna cook and test the thermometer. So let's open up the box and take a look and see what's inside. All right, so you are presented with a user manual, warranty card, extended warranty card. That's quite nice. And what's here? This looks like the probe, and feels pretty well made. Actually, the probe feels very solid and well made. So this is actually I think braided metal. The probe is braided metal, and I guess this end connects to the thermostat, and this is your probe end. So, and it's pretty long, the probe. So if you have some meat that's very deep, you can most definitely go deep enough and extend to the area that you want to test on. So I'm thinking of turkeys in those kind of applications. Over at this area, it's kind of have a spring to prevent it from getting folded and then damaged. This area is sealed, and it's kind of hard plastic. A quick label that basically just says avoid area sets like super hot, or temperatures that exceeds 485 degrees Fahrenheit. So basically open flames and the grill that's like extremely hot. So avoid those, and you should prolong the life of the thermostat. So I'm gonna leave the probe aside, and what's in here? So I guess this is actually the probe holder right here. Let's take a look at the thermometer itself. I think that's all the things in the box. Okay. All right, picking it up, it actually looks very well designed. The front panel is stainless steel. Let's just peel this off. It's a pretty sleek design. I kind of like it, very modern. So on the side, I guess this is one of the probe area, and on the other side is the other probe area. So on the back, two of the magnetic little things. So I guess you can actually stick this onto your grill, or actually stick this on the fridge when it's not in use. And this area is for you to hang it somewhere with a nail of some sort. Okay, so open it up. This looks like the battery area. Holds two AAA batteries. All right, I got the batteries, so let's put the battery in, and then we can probably turn it on and just do a quick checkout. All right, so batteries opened, installed. So on the back there are actually two knobs. So one knob is to convert the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius degrees, and over here is your on-off switch. So over here in the middle is a timer feature, and over here is a cook feature. I guess the front is touch sensitive. I'm not sure, but let's actually turn it on and see what's going on. Oh wow, looks really nice, like really nice. Oh, touch screen, how cool is that? Not sure. Okay, so now it's focused. So it's got a backlit LED, which makes this look super contrasty, very easy to actually read. So, so this is the second tab over here, which is the timer feature. I'm using the seconds to add the needed seconds. If I long press it, it increases, you know, digitally or continuously. And this is the minutes. So I want to set the timer at 5 minutes 43 seconds. And then how do I start it? All right, so if I hit SS meet, and then basically the countdown timer starts. What if I press it again? So if I press it again, it actually pauses, and then press the SS meet again, it actually starts the timer. Try to see if there's a feature to reset the timer. There isn't. Let me read through the manual, and then I'm going to come back and tell you what's going on and how to use this thermostat. Okay, so I'll be back. All right, guys, so I kind of figured out what's going on after I read through the manual. So I'm going to re-show you guys how the thermostat works really quickly on setting it up and get it ready to cook your favorite meat. Okay, so by default, when you finish cooking, it's always going to be at off position, so the screen goes off and you don't waste any battery power. When you are ready to cook, actually switch it into the cook mode, which is the mode on the bottom. And as you can see, it's going to go into the cooking mode, and it displays a default, you know, cooking temperature, which is 160 degrees Fahrenheit for both probe 1 and probe 2. So the next step is you probably want to, at this point, plug in your probe. You can plug one into probe 1 and plug the other into probe 2. And as you can see, instantly, it gives you the actual reading from two different probes. So the probe 1 is going to be the one resting behind there. And that's reading a temperature of 78 degrees, which is the room temperature right now. This one is a probe 2. Let's see if it actually would read a temperature higher if I put my hand over here. Obviously, yes, it's reading the temperatures correctly and actually fairly quickly. So it updates fairly quickly. So, so over here is your preset temperature, the temperature you want. Over here is the actual temperature right now. So to change this, to change your preset on the different probes, you simply just have to press the P1 and the P2 button. So if you press, so right now it shows P2 and it's blinking. Not sure if the color would adjust, go a little bit darker. So when the P2 is blinking, it's time to adjust the P2 temperature. You can either use this minimum, the up and down button to manually adjust the temperature you want, or you can go into kind of a like a smart preset mode, which if you press the SS meet, it goes into the preset mode, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different modes, which, you know, indicates different meats that you want to cook. There's hamburger, there's pork, chicken, and there's a custom. A custom, you can also just adjust the temperature manually. So basically, this is the custom mode. And if you press again, it goes back into, you know, well done beef, which is presets to 170, medium well 160. For rare and fish, you set it, the program sets to 145 automatically. So this also applies for pork as well, and that's the thing I'm gonna cook right next. So I'm simply gonna put the probe 2, which is the one right over here, which is a higher temperature because I'm holding it. I'm gonna plug it into the pork and see right now what the temperature is, and it's gonna dip fairly quickly because I just took it out of the fridge, and the light actually goes out. So all you have to do is just, you know, press one time and the LED light goes back on. Otherwise, it goes out to save battery. So right now, the temperature for the pork is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna have it rest a little bit longer, or close to the room temperature, which is right now 81 degrees. Once it's close to the room temperature, I'm gonna start cooking my pork, okay? And For the pork that I'm cooking, I'm gonna actually aim for 145 degrees, which is a good temperature for a tender pork. And I'm gonna set both probe 1 and probe 2 to 145. The quickest way to go there is probably just use the rare setting for the beef, which ultimately defaults to 145, which is really convenient, and that's a good number. That's a number I use most for cooking steaks and cooking the pork. So right now both of them are defaulting to 145, and once I'm ready to cook the pork, I'm gonna come back and update this video and show you guys how the probe works once the steak is cooking, and how you can monitor the temperature of the cooking steak. It's being sitting there for a good probably 15 to 20 minutes, and now I'm just gonna put this whole thing in there and let it sear on one side first. All right, my pork is still cooking, so what I want to do now is actually I'm just gonna put the 2 probes in there and constantly monitor the internal temperature of the pork. And I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna kind of cover the cover over here, so kind of like that, and then I'm gonna turn on the thermostat. So right now the temperature is rising, obviously. I'm gonna set the P1 to 145 and P2 the preset temperature to 145. So I am gonna set the thermostat there, and once the temperature reaches 145, the thermometer is gonna beep and tell me that the internal temperature of the pork has reached 145. Try to show it in the camera, but when the light is on, it's kind of hard to see. All right, so we'll be back once the temperature reaches 145 on one of the probes, and then we can stop cooking, okay? So once the temperature is reached, it beeps, and as you can see, I actually pointed to the internal, it reached 145, and I poked into a few different areas to make sure that all the areas are 145. But now I took it out because I want to actually brown the fatty part a little bit so it's nice and crispy. Okay, so let's just cut it up. I like my steak nice and thin. So I like more fatty pork because more fat, more tender it is, and you just cannot mess it up. And this is how you enjoy pork I know a lot of people have bad image of pork. They think it's super dry, but that's totally opposite for me, because like I find pork to be like very, very tender if cooked properly. So the secret is you gotta keep the temperature below 145, because anything higher than that, the pork is gonna be overcooked and it's gonna be dry and not juicy at all. And when you finish cooking, you must have it sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes. This is like super, super tender, okay? So that's how you cook a pork butt meat, pan-seared, with the Smartro meat thermometer. And to wrap it up, I really like the thermometer because it actually gives me a very precise reading, exact reading when it reaches 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Very, very important, especially for pork. So that's a secret of actually making a very tender pork chop. Now the thermostat, I really don't have much complaint about the thermostat. It works as advertised, and the preset setting is actually very useful because you can jump into different temperatures fairly quickly. So chicken's 180, and on the thermostat it actually defaults pork to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, which I mean, it's a well-cooked pork. For me, pork is at 145, okay? But you can always customize the exact temperature that you like on the thermostat. So really there's no problem there. The two probes are really, really helpful, especially if you cook two different kinds of meats, or like one very large meat. You want to make sure that, you know, different areas, one thick area, one thinner area is covered all together. So that's really helpful as well. And the probe line, I think it's at least 3 foot long. I think it's long enough if you need to use it in the barbecue grill as well. But for me, I just use it, you know, right next to my the carbon steel pan, and works just fine. And also another helpful feature is, you know, the timer. So basically, before you use the thermostat while the steak is cooking on one side, you set the timer to 5 minutes maybe, and when the 5 minutes comes up, you simply switch it to the thermostat mode, put the two probes in, and then you're, you know, pretty much golden and ready to go. If you guys have any questions about this thermostat, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. And I'm gonna post the link on where I got it on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please do hit the like button and subscribe. And so in this video, we used the thermostat to successfully cook some delicious pork chop, and so good. It has done its job exceptionally well. No complaint at all. Thanks again, and I'm gonna go enjoy my pork now. Take care.